if I were analyzing the Dean Homes tract, I just do active, well, I'll now do coming soon, now that that's an option. Coming soon, active, active under contract, pending, and closed over the last 365. This is how I analyze it. You can also add expireds and cancels if you want, and blah, 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 whatever you want to do. This is how I choose to do it, okay? I go into results, and I have created, so first of all, you can on Realist, so first I would actually look at the map to say, where the heck is this? So on Realist, you can map this search as well to find out the house count, or you could go to Gabe and say, hey, Gabe, can you give me a farm package on this? And he will tell you, this tract has this many homes, this amount of turnover, and what have you, okay? So this tract has had 22 sales in it, and let's say it's a tract of 500 for easy math, right? So you can go, and I'm going to say active, pending. I'm going to include them, but let's just say we don't. Okay, let's subtract 3. So there have been 19 sales. This is going to be something I was going to share later, but let's do this for right now. This is a program called Inside Tract. You can go into and say Mission Viejo, or if you have an address on the street, like what we have here, we had one Spadra. I'm going to go and just type in Spadra and hit go. It only came back with one result, which is Dean Homes. And it will say there are 652 units on here. I recommend if you're going to be a farmer, get the paid for it version, because you click here for the premium report. It now has charged my account for this, but you get access to, how awesome would this be if you're a farmer, the floor plans of the farm. Shouldn't you as a farmer and area specialist know these? Of course. Okay. Also, one of the cool things, sometimes, let's see if it is, sometimes under the site details, it has the original builder. So it has like the tract, but it doesn't have, sometimes it'll have the brochure from the builder. Like, it's pretty cool. It'll show like, oh, what the builder, how they sold it. You know, here's an area map that'll show where in Mission Viejo it is. Mission Viejo Central with all of these things. And you can also have the overview map, which will usually be either the entire city or a large subsection of it, which right here, it's the Mission Viejo Central. So anyway, tons of cool things. But the reason why I did this is it gave us 652. So we would go 652, 19 divided by 652, basically a 3% turnover. Not the greatest in the world, but not the worst. What I also like to do is over 3 years and then average it, which is 1095. And just show me the solds. Right? So over 3 years, there is 71 divided by, what was it, 652, I believe? 652 equals, and then divide that by 3, because you want to see a trend over time. So over time, for the last 3 years, it's been averaging 3.6% turnover. Right now, because of the global pandemic, all units are down as a whole. So I like to use this 3-year average as kind of an updated number on here. Just so you know, good rule of thumb, shoot for about 5%. Obviously, the higher the better, but shoot for about 5%. So let's say over the last 365, I want to see who has sold those homes. So we know the turnover is 3.6% averaging over the last 3 years. You can add, not a lot of people know this, you can add and remove criteria from this printout. So I can add by clicking. You see how when I hover over this top tab, it creates a cross pattern. I don't know if you can see that on the screen. You don't click on the actual thing itself where it turns into like a hand, but make it so it's a cross pattern. And you say insert column. And I want listing office name, because I want to know the company. And I also want to know that's weird. Oh, because I said co-list office. So you got to be careful with that. So I'm going to remove the column. And I'm going to go, because I thought that was weird why only a couple of them had something on there. So I'm going to go list office name. I'm going to say insert column, list, agent, first name. I'm going to say list, agent, last name. So there have been 19 sales, and then I'm just going to sort it by last name. Oh, whoops. I'm going to sort it by last name. So there have been 19 sales in this tract. I'm just going to look for duplicates. Dave Gubler sold 2. So there's only been one agent who sold more than one house in here. So there have been 19 sales by 18 different agents. Does this look like a heavily marketed competitive farm? No. So competition-wise, not too bad. Now here's another thing we can do. We can say, okay, well, let's see over the last 3 years, is there anyone who's been farming it? Maybe there's a farmer who's been having a bad year. And we do the same thing. Sort it by last name. Let's go back down, looking for duplicates. So over the last 3 years, the only one, Dave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sales in the last 3 years. He sold 5. Mac McKenzie sold 2. Sherry Moretti sold 2. So that's it. One agent has sold 5. 2 agents have sold 2. So over 71 transactions. What is that? 68 different agents? That's one way of taking a look at turnover by looking at the sales, but also the competition. The only competition really, which isn't strong competition, is Dave. So over the last year, there have been 19 sales. My favorite thing to use when analyzing a farm is the stats feature, tabular. Now you don't have to actually select anything, just so you guys know. I used to think you had to do this first, then hit stats. If you don't select anything, it defaults to doing the entirety. So let's do this. Let's unselect everything and then click stats so you can see. And so we know that the close price was 15 million in volume, right? So I just copied that. I'm going to go back to my calculator and say $15,651,000, and I'm going to multiply that by 2.5%. Whoops, by 0.025. So that is $391,000 in commissions paid to the listing side, because there's 2 sides to every transaction. So let's multiply that by 2 and say total commission potential in this $652,000 or 652 farm is $782,000 is made in this farm. So even though the turnover rate averages at 3.6%, someone might say, oh, go find a better farm. I'm looking at there's over $750,000 of potential in this one farm. with zero competition realistically. So this is how I look at a farm. So when people are splitting hairs on a farm, wow, what do you think, Jacob? Should I do this or should I do that? Well, this one's a 4.2% and that one's a 4%. Tell me in dollars, because at the end of the day, you're spending dollars, not percentages, right? Let's break it down into dollars. I like looking at $750,000, not is it 3.6% versus 4.2%, because we can split hairs over that all day long. This is what I think about.